We've got our first matchup with the NFC East, and we headed to Philly, baby.
And we got a close look at Sam from the practice field.
And we got
one-on-one matchups and the beast from the East. All that
and more. Welcome into Command Center, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. Brian Coker Jr. here with Santana Moss, Logan Paulson, Fred Smoot. Fellas, week 3 did not go.
Why did you say your name like that?
Everybody says my name like that.
All right, here we go.
Week 3 did not go as planned. Yeah. However, we are still 2-1. Yeah. However, we have a lot of things to look forward to, and we plan on bouncing back. So, Santana, how do you expect our guys to bounce back in week 4 against the Eagles?
Just learn from your mistakes and come back with a better plan. You know, that's all.
Yeah, for me, I think they just got to finish a little bit better. They did some things offensively that were pretty good. Interceptions in the red zone killed them.
First of all, like Mike Tyson says, everybody got a plan before they get hit in the eye. We got hit in the eye, so you have to bounce back. Those games, actually, we play better the next game because we want to get back to where we were.
And Fred.
Yeah.
First NFC East matchup. Or should I say, Fred Smoot. First NFC matchup. What makes these games just a little different for the players?
It's like mama leaving the house, two brothers in the house. We fighting it out, we duking it out. I know his best moves, he knows my best moves, but we gonna fight it out to the end. It's personal, it's relatable. They know our strengths, weaknesses. Gotta show up and play that game.
You always felt like the game moved a little bit quicker, you know, when you were playing a division rival and a little more physicality. So you just got to bring that extra little bit for these games.
We very familiar with each other. You know, one of the things about being familiar with each other that it's not going to come out the way that you plan. These guys know a little bit more about you than you know about yourself. So you have to go out there and be ready to make adjustments on the run.
Well, fellas, a big part of us bouncing back is our leadership. So now it's time to hear from our head coach, Ron Rivera. This was him after our week 3 loss. Take a listen.
You know, this is our 3rd game of the season. We're 2-1 right now, and you know, we have an opportunity to make some corrections from this game. Everybody hates to lose. I hate to lose. I hate losing. Excuse me. Sorry. But I do. And the truth of the matter is, the only good thing out of losing is that you can learn from it. And that's what we intend to do, to learn what our mistakes were, learn what the things that we didn't do right, get those things corrected, and move forward. That's what we're going to do. I mean, we're not going to, you know, stay indoors because the sky is falling. We're going to show up, we're going to work hard, and we're going to get it corrected. This is a good football team, good young football team that needs to learn and understand. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to get your butt kicked. How you respond, that tells everybody whether you're worth a crap or not.
Always good to hear from Coach. None of us like losing, but you know what? It's time to move forward, and it's time to get fired up. Hey, yo, Fred Smoot, help us out with that, big dog.
I got you, B. Time for Fred's Fired Up, presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of your Washington Commanders. First of all, I'm fired up this week because we are the new capital. People don't know that Philadelphia is the old capital. But here goes another thing that's a fun fact about Philadelphia that got me fired up. They got a statue of a man that don't even exist. Like they got a statue of Rocky right there. They jog all the time, and they don't act like he's fixing the character. He's not real. Like we wouldn't ever do that in Washington. We only put up statues of presidents because we're more subtle than that. We're more real than y'all.
Responsible.
You know how it goes.
Monuments.
So I'm going to do a kiss for y'all in Philly. Can't wait to see you. Back to you, B.
Always can count on my guy, Fred, for getting our minds right for game day. And speaking of game day, let's get a look at this game day guide brought to you by SeatGeek, your ticket to great Commanders seats. Now, kickoff time will be at 1 p.m. That's right, the Commanders are on the road against their divisional rival, the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, kickoff time is at 1 at Lincoln Financial Field. You can tune into the game on Fox. And just like our Commanders squad, the Command Center Game Day live show is hitting the road. That's right, we will be on the road in Philly. You can watch live on YouTube, Facebook's X, beginning at noon. Brian Mitchell, Santana Moss, and myself will bring you all things Commanders with our pregame coverage right from the field, right? We'll be right behind enemy lines, baby. And after the game, make sure you kick it with us because we'll be there for post-game as well. We'll be back live with me, Santana, B. Mitch to bring you all things you need to know about Philly. Now that we got through all of that, we got all the logistics, let's get into this week 4 matchup. It is time for headlines presented by the Washington Times. All right, guys, it's time, baby. We got Philly, our first divisional matchup. Now, let's get into this, right? First things first. We got a tough run game. Philly got a tough run game. Fred, how you feeling about it?
Well, first of all, it's one of those times.
First of all.
First of all. Because last time we was there in Philadelphia, we ran the ball down those throats. We consumed the time, and we made Jalen Hurts watch the game. That's what I call weaponizing the run game defensively. It makes him sit over there and watch more than he plays. Now, stopping their run game, I think it's going to be a little harder than it seems. Because Swift is one of the best backs in the league. They run in that zone concept where he has to be patient, but he hits the hole. No determined hole. So the linebackers and the safeties got to be ready to respond.
I mean, Swift's getting a lot of pub, but it's really the offensive line.
Yeah,
So the offensive line's got to be one of the best in football. Lane Johnson helms that group, and I think they are super physical, man. They get after guys in the double team. They create a ton of space, and Swift, he has like the lowest, like in terms of people touching him, defense is touching him. He gets into the line of scrimmage deeper than anybody else. So like they're protecting him and doing a good job of that. So really, to me, it's the defensive line, how they kind of cover those guys up, how they keep the linebackers clean. But you're right, Fred. It's going to be really, really challenging to handle Swift and what he brings.
Yeah, it's going to be really challenging. And one of the things that I heard this weird stat, and I'm not sure. Don't quote me, but quote me. I believe that they say that Swift has over 103 yards before being touched. You know what I mean? So that is odd. But you know, Fred brought up talking about our run game last time we was there. That's what we haven't seen yet from our team. So I'm hoping that, you know, maybe, you know, each week we want to see something different. I'm hoping that we kind of lean a little more there, because I feel like we're going to need to kind of possess the ball a little longer to keep keep the balls out of their hands.
I think EB's done a pretty good job of making sure that we're running the ball in advantageous looks, right? Those two safety structures. But maybe this week it's a time where you say, hey man, we got to really commit, be okay with kind of having those neutral 1 yard runs and kind of just being super committed to it like we were last year. Like you were talking about, Fred, chew some of that clock, keep the defense on the sideline, let them get nice and freshened up when they got to go against Hurts.
The question is, do you want to run wide with this team so these D tackles have to start to chase people sideline to sideline, or do you want to run right at them? That's the big question of it.
Well, in terms of runs that we've run, we've been really successful with. It's been the counter and the outside zone. And I think when you look at the offensive line and its construction, our offensive line, the Commanders, I think you want a group that's going to be able to kind of make those guys run, make Jordan Davis run a little bit, make Jalen Carter run a little bit, and use those Cosme, Sadiq. That's why they're in there, those athletic traits. And I think that you could find creases and let B-Rob kind of be B-Rob on the second level against Randall against Zach Cunningham, right?
I don't really agree with you much, but I agree with you right now.
Or find other ways too, in like far as in our passing game, we can use who we have in Curtis to come in the backfield and do some of the things out of the backfield too. So you don't always necessarily have to hand that ball off to consist or consider that as a run. Find slip screens, you name it, something screens just to make sure that we getting the guys who need the ball in their hands early and often.
And Santana, as always, you're always ahead of the curve, because that's a perfect transition into our next one, and that's Sam Howell bouncing back. So Santana, I'm gonna start with you. What are the keys to Sam Howell bouncing back?
Oh man, Sam is young, man. He's a young QB. Folks start putting days or times or games on a guy like that and say, and I'm not one of those guys. I don't like to say, okay, well, he's played 4 games as a starter, now he's not a rookie no more. No, he's still a rookie. He's gonna be a rookie all this year. Things that he sees, he's gonna see something different or something similar each and every week. Now, some of the things that I've seen, which is probably nothing new, I'm pretty sure Logan could break this down too. They bring in 4, dropping back 7. So you have a lot of zone that he's seeing, and they telling him, you beat us with your arm. So I'm hoping that we don't have to rely on Sam to beat us or beat teams with his arm. I hope the coaching staff find a way to say, Sam, we're going to put you in a situation where we move the pocket or where we put a run here and there to keep them off balance. Because if you're going to continue to drop back in zone, we have to find ways where you can't chunk it downfield, get those quick dumps or something just to change things from defenses. Because I've seen that this past weekend and a couple of weekends before that, the defenses are doing similar coverages when it comes to trying to stop, Sam from throwing the ball downfield.
And we're gonna see the same thing this week. They rush with 4, they drop 7, they do these smart things. But I think what people need to understand, especially our fan base, if you compare Howell and Hurts in their first games, they're almost identical. Like when Hurts first started, he had a problem passing the ball, so he used to just run. Our guy has a problem holding on the ball because he can pass the ball. Look at their numbers, they're right there. One thing Philly showed us, sometimes you can learn from your enemy. Be patient and watch them grow. We knew we was going to go through these up and downs. What did I talk about in the last couple of weeks? He's a young baby. He's going to throw up, and he will soil his pamper. And this week, he soiled a Huggy. We saw it. But I was ready for that. I was ready for that. Now the question is, now what you going to do? Like, I seen what you did, when you was on top of the world. what you gonna do when you brought back down to earth, and now you got a reset button.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's an awesome point. Like he's growing, he's maturing as a player. But I think to Tana's point, like what does the staff do?
Yeah.
To kind of say, how can we maximize it? More quick game, more screens, more play action. Love to see that. Insulate that offensive line. You know he's gonna hold the ball a little bit. He's having a hard time seeing it. That's a characteristic of him in college. It's a characteristic of young quarterbacks in general. Can we find ways again to make that process easier for him? Down in and down out. Probably going to incorporate the running game to some capacity, but I think that's going to be a huge factor this week. And also being patient as a play caller too, right?
Yeah,
Being okay with punting the football. So I think that's going to be a big
Protect
deal.
them with the run game.
Great points, fellas. And one thing we know we need from Sam Howell is some air power. So it's time for our air power presented by Air National Guard, proud partner of the Washington Commanders. And like we said, we playing against Philly. The Eagles are 3-0, headed into week 4. Final thoughts on Sam Howell and what y'all need to see from him real quick. What y'all need to see from Sam Howell against this undefeated Eagles team?
Come down, protect the ball. I'm taking that from Tanner, because Tanner gonna say protect the ball. Protect the ball at all costs. I want to make sure he could even say it.
I just say take what the defense is giving you. There's a couple times in that last game where they're dropping out. Tanner's alluded to that. It's 3rd and 19. They're at the 6. Just hit that flat, man. Live to play another day. I think that's going to be super important for him.
Know how to play situational football. When we have the opportunities presenting ourselves to get points, think about the points. Regardless if it's a field goal or a touchdown, get points before you're trying to do too much with the ball.
Sure.
Always great to hear you guys break it down. Another guy I love hearing breakdown is our guy, London Fletcher. Santana, we're going to send you down there with him. Y'all going to be on the field to get some more breakdowns. London, what's good?
Thanks, Brian. London Fletcher here with Santana Moss for the Field Pass, brought to you by FedEx, where now meets next. Tana, first day practicing, getting ready for the Philadelphia Eagles, coming off a rough loss at home against the Buffalo Bills. It was a rough day for Sam Howell in particular. Got sacked 9 times in that ball game. For a young quarterback and even this offense, how do you get your confidence back?
I mean, one of the things you do, you come back to practice. You come back to the drawing board. I think one of the things that we all did throughout our career, what we used to better ourselves and to understand more, at times when we wasn't, ourselves or we didn't play up to the standards, is watching film. And I think the film room can always show you, teach you a lot of stuff. I mean, we was always told also, put good stuff on tape.
Yes.
And when you don't put good things on tape, the tape is always there to show you and prove to you why you should have did something different. So I think that's going to be key this week, man. He got to watch himself. But I'm sure that game that he played last week is out of his head right now. Normally you come in there between Monday and Tuesday, you watch the film, get it out of there. When you step on that field Wednesday, it's all about that next opponent. And he has a tough task ahead of himself with one of the, best defenses right now. I think we're going to be facing in the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could just think back to, when I was playing, we were playing together, whether we lost the game or I didn't have particularly my best game. I look forward to being able to get back out on the practice field to correct the mistakes that I made in that ball game. You be hard on yourself, be critical. And I think when you lose like that, lose by 34 points. It's on everybody. It's a responsibility for everybody to look within themselves as a man. Like, hey, what could I have done better? Whether it's the defense, what could we have done better? Offensive line. There were 9 sacks out there. They weren't all. Sam held on the ball. Maybe a tad bit too long on a few of those sacks, but all 9 of them weren't a byproduct of Sam holding on to the football. Sometimes the Buffalo Bills had some nice scheme stuff called up, but also, we need to protect him a lot better. And,
no doubt.
And you mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles defense. We will be challenged mightily against this team. They led the National Football League in sacks a season ago. They're not up to that point where they were a year ago,
last year.
But they still have some guys that can get after the quarterback, and I'm sure they'll be thinking about last year's Monday Night Football game where we beat them and knocked them for the ranks of the unbeaten. As we look at these receivers, I look at Jahan Dotson. He comes out of that game, just 2 receptions, and there were times we were open, and I know maybe the coverage. He only had 4 targets, and maybe there were plays designed to get him the ball a little bit more. Because you think about him and his talent, definitely want to have him with more opportunities.
More options.
More opportunities to catch the ball.
The one thing I can say about that, because I've heard it all over talk radio so far this week, and what folks fail to understand is he's number 2 or 3. In the reads right now. You have Terry, who's number 1, and then you might have him as a number 2 receiver, but you might have a tight end as a number 2 read, or you know what I mean, vice versa. So he's going to get those opportunities. I think going forward, knowing how vital he can be to this offense, you have to start sprinkling in a couple of plays that's specifically for him.
Right.
That's what I need to see more of. So right now, I've been seeing him run the offense as structure, as design. But you might have to say, well, the talent that he has, he needs to have a play or two here and there, whether it's in the first half, 2 plays in the first half, 2 plays in the second half, where we can say they're designed for Jahan.
These are Jahan plays.
We're gonna max protect. We're gonna do whatever it is that this play here that we know we can get a splash play for Jahan, because he's that kind of guy. He can change the game around.
Yeah, you mentioned targets. You look at Cole Turner. He was starting for Logan Thomas last week, and he had seven receptions. I mean, seven targets in that ball game. 7
targets, yeah.
And he played well. But looking back, they obviously want to spread the football around. I want to definitely see us run the football a little bit more.
Most definitely.
But that's going to be it from the field pass. I got to toss it to chopping it up with B. Mitch, because me and him got to chop it up.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's Chopping It Up, presented by DC Prime, Loudoun's premier steakhouse. For dinner reservations or private dining, call 703-840-2099.
This franchise I've always loved, because it gave me the opportunity to go from boy to man.
Yes.
And the fans around here, you've been here long enough, you understand, when they love you, they love you.
Right, yep.
Hell, if I'm a person that can't play or not like, I can't leave Washington and go to Philadelphia. And the Philadelphia fan, they don't like nobody from another team. I made them start loving some Brian Mitchell. And I just think that ultimately, a lot of times, you have to know what's happening in your locker room. And not just listen, I don't care who the coach is. Coaches roll into a new team, and they want, I'm gonna bring my way. You can bring your way. But you better keep the person who has the ear of the locker room.
And get that person to buy
and get that person on you.
Yeah, to buy into the way that you're bringing. Yeah,
John Harbaugh went up to the Ravens.
Yes. He got Ray to buy in.
When he started tripping, Ray and Ed checked him. John quickly realized, I need him on my side. Once he got him on his side, they went on and got a championship. Yeah. And I think most coaches, and I'm going to say it, I'm going to look in the camera, and I want you to understand, there have been a lot of great players without great coaches. But you've never seen a great coach without great players. So just take that where you want to go.
Never.
You know what I mean? It's just
never.
Thanks, fellas. Always good to hear from some legends, and I get the privilege of hanging out with legends every game day. That's Command Center Game Day Live and post game. And this week, we're doing something special for y'all. Every game day, I have the privilege of getting to chop it up with B. Mitch on Command Center Game Day and Post Game Live. And speaking of those shows, we got something very, very special for you. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Command Center Game Day and Post Game Live will be out in Philly at Lincoln Financial Field for live pregame warm-ups starting right at noon. That's right, we're going to be on the road, and stick with us, because immediately after the game, B. Mitch, Santana, and I will be right back with you for Post Game Live. But before game day, we'll be giving you the Command Center special from Philadelphia, brought to you by Northwest Federal Credit Union. We'll be bringing you the names and news you need to be watching out for in this week's NFC East matchup. Fellas, we're headed to the city of brotherly love. I need my brothers, Logan, that's including you, to give us the breakdown on these matchups. Santana, I'm going to start with you.
Well, my breakdown would be of the Commanders' D-line versus DeAndre Swift. Yeah. Now, DeAndre Swift has been putting on a show the past few weeks in the run game. They're talking about Jalen Hurts need to get his passing game going on, but why when you got DeAndre Swift? Our defensive front has to bring that A game this week. We know why, because this guy can be a whole lot, and I don't want to see him doing some of the things he's been doing the past few weeks.
And you mentioned DeAndre Swift. To me, it's also the quarterback, right? How do you handle Hurts as a runner? He's struggling as a passer, but he's running the football at a high level right now. So can the defensive line account for that zone read, account for that quarterback power?
And you said it, zone. The one thing about running the zone scheme, the back picks the hole, so he has to be patient. The linebackers are going to have to get off that second level and get into the first level if we're going to have a chance of stopping these guys.
And Logan, I'm throwing it up to you.
Man, I got the best matchup of the day, I think. Commanders O-line versus Eagles defensive line, man. Right, Fred? Yeah. We've been talking about these guys for months, right? Jalen Carter, maybe the best player in the draft this last year. He has been playing like it, man. Pass rusher, disrupting it in rundowns. Awesome job. Jordan Davis, man. The big man has come alive, man. There's plays where he's taking on 3 or 4 blockers at a time, making disruptive mess in the backfield. We haven't even talked about the edge guys, right? Hassan Reddick. Josh Sweat looks like a pass rushing fool. What do our guys do?
Yeah.
How do they handle it? How do they get better? That's something I can't wait to watch.
How can you forget about Brandon Graham? You got so many guys coming off that edge. So Wiley and Leno, that's going to be the matchup we really got to watch. I think the inside guys as a group can hold these guys, but you know the tackles, they're out there by themselves on that island.
Yep.
And Fred,
last but
certainly not least, what's your matchup you got for us?
You
You're
know
so
what I got? I got the Slim Reaper versus the Gingerbread Man. Run as fast as you can. These guys have seen each other since college. They've been going each other since college. He was 172 when he came out. Our guy was 175. Smallest, skinniest guys in that seat, but lethal. And like I say, they have a pass here. So my guy couldn't wait to get this going on, get this competition going. I think this is going to be one that defines him because he's killed us in the last 3 or 4 games when we played Philadelphia. He's got deep balls on us.
Well, fellas, we got y'all matchup. Now let's take a deeper dive into the numbers. Now, as you can see, everything's pretty much identical across the board except for those rushing touchdowns. And as you can see, Philly has forced more turnovers. Santana, you all about the turnover battle. What do y'all feel about these numbers? Are y'all a little surprised that these numbers aren't a little more like different?
I mean, not surprised, but you know, when you're coming off of the Super Bowl, sometimes they have these kind of seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I do believe that the Philadelphia Eagles are a better team right now. I mean, you know, and people probably gonna want to do this to me for saying that. But that's to be honest. So I think though, when you have a division opponent, all that stuff is kind of out the door. So
I can say it doesn't matter. You can throw these stats and throw them in the garbage because it's a division game. And yes, I'm not shocked that they're close. They 3-0, we 2-1. It ain't too much difference with these teams. We'll see you.
I agree with Fred. I agree with Fred.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
And one thing about these numbers that are gonna make them better is some ice cold plays. And speaking of ice cold, Santana, I'm gonna let you take it away.
Ice cold.
What's colder than cold?
Ice cold. It's time for Ice Cold Moment presented by Steam Fitters. Steam Fitters UA Local 602 provides the highest level HVAC and mechanical piping services.
Fellas, who are y'all looking to make ice cold plays in week 4? Fred, I'm gonna start with you.
Fellas, first of all, what's colder than cold?
Ice cold.
First of all, it's all about B-Rob, a.k.a. the snowman, and he don't melt in the sun.
Snowman.
I'm telling you like this. This is the guy that helped us beat them last year because he runs the ball, he catches the ball, he does everything we need. And the best way to beat Philadelphia is to make sure Jalen Hurts is on the sideline watching the game. We're gonna do that through B-Rob.
Logan, you up next?
Yeah, I mean, I got Jamin Davis, man. Each week, this guy's been playing better. Last couple weeks of the season, played good football.
Yeah.
He's physical, he's fast, he's playing more confident, he's showing up in a dramatic way. Love that this week he's going to play an integral part of stopping DeAndre Swift and Jalen Hurts. He's going to be a big part of stopping that rushing attack. Hopefully he continues to get better.
Santana?
And I got Sam I Am. I think last week was a great wake-up call for Sam. You know what I mean? It's one of those times when you're a young guy and everything is going great for you and you're on your high horse and now
reality.
Now you see how it feels to touch that dirt a little bit. So I want Sam to come back, put everything behind him, and understand that some of the things that happened last week was because of me. This week I have to play better.
Well, we're hoping Sam can set the tone, but one guy we know for sure is going to set the tone is my guy London. Man, London, how you doing, brother?
It's time to set the tone. Brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Fast play games. Play fast, win fast today. Please play responsibly. Thanks, Brian. It's time to set the tone. We're going into Philadelphia to take on the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. And for my tone setters for this game, this is a big man's game. I need my offensive line and my D-line to set the tone. O-line, you have to protect Sam Howell better. Also, you have to establish the run. Lean on these big guys from Philadelphia. They remember last year how you went in there and ran the ball down their throat. We need some more of that type of setting of the tone. Big fellas, take over the ball game. Defensively, my big dogs up front, that defensive line, you have to hunt down Jalen Hurts. This is a big man's type of game. The tone has been set. Are you ready to go in Philadelphia and take it to the Philadelphia Eagles? Let's go. The tone has been set. I need my big fellas.
Well, you saw London.
And you know, I don't think I need to say anything else.
I woke him up.
Don't bring your kid.
I don't think we need to say anything else. London got us hype enough. This has been Command Center. We will see y'all for pregame out in Philly, baby.
We'll see you in Philly.
I was not expecting that.
Tonight, Dad came with. He didn't want his little sweet potato to be here without him. But now, he really wishes she was here without him. Next time, he'll just let her roll with her new entourage. And he'll only trust SeatGeek with the tickets. Because when she finds her happy place, he can find his way back to the car. The ticketing app trusted by fans. SeatGeek, so fans can fan.